Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name's Jay Izso, and oh man, do we have another great show. What can I say? We've all been stuck at one time or another in our life. And you know, so many of you listen to the show. You have businesses that you run, and you have teams, and kind of figure out how do I improve that? How do I make that better? How do I make myself better? How can I be a better leader? And then let's just talk about the personal life for a second. Our personal life sometimes is out of control, and we're not sure what we're doing. Right? I mean, let's just be honest. We're human. We don't know what we're really doing out here. We're just kind of playing it by ear. We're all kind of think that we've got a plan, but let's be honest. When you look at the trajectory of the plan, it's kind of squiggly all over the place, and we really don't know what's going on out there. And we do the best that we can with what we got. But what if we had a little bit of direction? What if when we were stuck? What if when we weren't sure, of what life has for us next? What if we wanted to connect on a deeper level? What if we wanted to connect on just a better level? What if we wanted to just be better as a human being and interact better with others? And in the hopes of maybe if we're better human beings, that they can be better human beings too. And I think there's a great message in all of that. And my guest here today, Greg Bennick, has written this fabulous book, Reclaim the Moment, 7 Strategies to Build a Better You. To build a better now. Well, you can build a better you too, but both. Let's do both. It could be better you, better now, better business, better everything. It's a great read. I really enjoyed reading this book, and we're going to talk about 7 strategies. So let me introduce you to Greg Bennick, because he's a super guy. Greg Bennick is a keynote speaker who shares strategies for juggling a world of distractions. I know for those of you who are listening on podcast, you're not going to see me do the juggling thing with my hands, but I was actually trying to juggle, which I don't do well. World of distractions to enhance individual perspective and performance and drive team-based organizational success. He's been traveling the world, entertaining, uplifting, listening to and learning from people for the last 3 decades. He doesn't look that old, I promise you. His work centers around social theory and very human experiences we share in common amidst a world that continually pulls us apart, and what we can do about it to come back to center. Greg is also the first international speaking coach for TEDx Perth, Australia, and has spoken to 27 countries worldwide, including the first ever spoken word tour by an American of all places, Ukraine and Russia. You can learn about Greg. I'm going to get this out right. So let me try that again. You can learn more about Greg at his website, which is what? GregBennick.com. That's GregBennick.com, which is his first last name put together. Well, you'll figure it out. Here it is. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. Welcome to the first time ever to A New Direction, Greg Bennick. Greg, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. What a great introduction. I loved it. And the more you talked about me and my accolades, the more I thought this is going to be the easiest interview of all time. I'll just sit here for the next 50 minutes and let you talk about me.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
I'm happy to talk about you. Enough about you. Let's talk about you.
I actually like the reworking of the title, 7 Strategies to Build a Better You. That's actually not a bad title. And gosh, that actually would have worked as well. But my thought was, we could build a better now, but still, I like your take on it. That's pretty good.
Well, I think it's because ultimately, when I read the book, I was thinking to myself, well, it really is building a better me. If I practice the 7 strategies, it really is building a better me. And I don't want to make it about me, but the fact of the matter is I'm always looking to improve.
Love it.
And so, I have a growth mindset and I have an open mindset, and I'm all about promotion versus prevention mindset, and all about, more of an outward versus inward mindset. And so as I was reading the book, I was thinking to myself, well, how can I be better? And I get it. I know how, I get it. It was supposed to be 7 strategies to build a better now, but I kept thinking to myself, well, I can be better at these things.
Well, I'll tell you, when Wiley approached me to write the book, their business trades division asked me to write the book. So the implication is that I would write a business book. Well, while the book certainly has applications for business, I wrote a personal development book masquerading as a business book so that people could take it as personal development. They could take it as business development, team development, all of the above. So your reaction to it is absolutely fantastic because that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a situation where people would look at the book and read the book and experience the book, not just as a business book, but as a personal development book. So we're right on the money. Build a better now, build a better you. I might actually run with that from now on when I do keynotes and say, hey, think of it these two different ways. I like that approach.
Well, I tell my coaching clients this all the time. There are no business problems. There's only personal problems that infect your business.
So true.
And
so true.
Everything that you write here in these 7 strategies is an infection. I know we're going to go to reverberation, which is number 7, and I understand.
Sure.
But when you think about what you're doing here, if we're going to have there's no business problems here. It's us who, as leaders, infect our business, and whatever that may be. And so I think we should just start with an infection, a good infection that we need, which is the first strategy to build a better now. And that's believe in the possibility of kindness to escape the trap of pessimism. And you make a point here of saying that pessimism starts young. You could not be more correct that pessimism starts young.
Absolutely.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Believing in the possibility of kindness, because I don't think, I think we want to think we're pretty kind. But then when we transfer that over into the business aspects of it, kindness doesn't always translate well into that.
It doesn't.
So go ahead with that.
Yeah, here's a perfect example. So you and I met about 14 minutes ago in our lives. We met 14 minutes ago. And I feel pretty good about our interaction, not just how it's going or where it's going. I feel pretty good about you as a human. And the chapter title to, believe in the possibility of kindness to escape the trap of pessimism applies right here. If I walk into an interaction and I assume this person's out to get me, this person's going to undermine me, this person's going to, throw out gotcha questions and the interview's not going to go well, I'm right. It's probably going to go that way. If I walk into this interaction and think to myself, okay, I'm meeting somebody new. This Coach Jay human is a random entity up until 15 and a half minutes ago now, but I've got a good feeling about this and I'm going to approach this situation from the perspective of possibility, from the perspective of potential, from the perspective that we might develop something of value together. All of a sudden, I'm right too, right? That's going to be correct. And our interaction right now, which feels very organic because it is, and feels authentic because it is based on that idea of us both stepping into the unknown, believing in the possibility that the person sitting across from us might just have our best interest in mind, might not be cruel, might in fact be altruistic, or might in fact be generous. With that in mind, we create tremendous opportunities for ourselves personally and in business too when we approach the world from that perspective. Yes, there are people out there who can't wait to take your money. Yes, there are people out there who have ulterior motives. But you know what? I like to believe that those people are fewer and further between than are the people who have the best of intentions in mind and want a better world, better interactions, better business, better ethics, those sorts of things. And when we approach the world from that perspective, we create new opportunities and possibilities.
I agree. I think where we may get disconnected, if I'm a business owner, and I know I have a lot that listen, and entrepreneurial people who have, and CEOs who listen to the show, there could be this disconnect for them of, well, I mean, how does kindness play into my business? Because I'm afraid that if I get too kind in the business world, I'm going to be taken advantage of. And so I can't, I don't know that I can afford to be that kind. You and I have a different way of viewing it. I think you and I are on the same page with this. It's like, oh no, kindness is going to win.
No, it's going to win.
But
yeah, because it doesn't have to be mutual kindness and innocence, kindness and vulnerability, better word, don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? They can go hand in hand, meaning I could be slightly vulnerable and be kind, and at the same time be smart about the way that I conduct my business and whatnot. I can say to a client, here's the parameters under which I work. I'm going to send you a proposal. If you like the proposal, you write me back. I'll send you a contract. You send me a deposit on my Keynote, and then you've locked in the date, and we're good to go. I've set up those parameters. Now, that person isn't going to not send me the deposit. Their check isn't going to bounce. Instead, I like to think they're going to be on time and their check is going to be good. So with that in mind, that's believing in the possibility of kindness too. They've got my best intentions in mind. They've got their client, their audience's best intentions in mind. And we don't have to be kind and so vulnerable and innocent that we give up what we want and what we need. I mean, the human animal is based on acquiring the things we want and need: food, shelter, a mate, those sorts of things. This goes back to the dawn of us playing with sticks and creating fire. Us owning a business is coming late in the game, but it's still part and parcel of the same thing. We have to make sure that we get what we need. And at the same time, we can be generous in the way that we communicate with other people and assume that they might just be the same with us. I like the possibility of that. I like the potential that that creates more than I like the idea that through my ruthlessness, through my intensity, I'll make sure to get what I want because the person sitting across from me certainly is going to do the same. That doesn't feel like the world that I want to live in. I think that I'd rather do business a different way. So that's the chapter name.
Yeah, and I want to let's take a look at the opposite of it, which we're defining here as basically as opposites: kindness and pessimism. Right, we're kind of defining that as two opposites in this chapter. And you say something here. You say pessimism destroys everything in its path, and things aren't even yet in its path. And so let's dig into. Okay, you don't want to be kind. Okay, let's say you go the other route, pessimism. What's that going to do for you? Talk about that.
I did a keynote yesterday in upstate New York, and I talked to 350 professionals up there, and we were talking about the idea that when you walk into the beginning of their year yesterday, that you have a choice to make. You have a choice to make at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the day, the beginning of the minute, the beginning of now, and that choice is to say, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, and you make a choice that you're going to step into the unknown with a possibility mindset. And this isn't just to sound overtly positive all the time. I'm certainly not, right? I'm not the keynote speaker who wakes up every morning, runs a marathon, comes home, everything is perfect. No, things are often annoying, sometimes even terrible. But the point is that even in the midst of annoying and terrible, we have a choice to make. And that choice is to say, okay, let's see what happens here. Let's walk into this opportunity of this day, because we don't always have that opportunity. When we approach the day with pessimism, we shut down possibility. I'm far more intrigued by the idea that humans have yet to fulfill their potential and that possibility is waiting for them to fill as well. I'm more interested in that than I am the idea that they might be right in their pessimistic view of the world. Sure, there are challenges, but yes, we can overcome more than we realize more often if we approach the world without a pessimism mindset and instead a mindset of kindness to ourselves, to the people around us, and to the potential waiting for us.
Mm. And I would love to add to this something that you also say. You say believing in the possibility of kindness opens up possibilities for connection, teamwork, and growth. And when I think about the opposite, like if I were to replace that with pessimism, if I were to say that believing in the possibility of pessimism, which there is no possibility, but let's say you believe in pessimism, right? Well, you've just destroyed the possibility for connection. You've destroyed the possibility of teamwork, and you've destroyed the possibility of growth. That, when I started thinking about it in that way, I started to realize that our best chance at growth and teamwork and connection is only going to come through kindness. It can't be anything else. I can't find anything else. I was searching for other things to build connection, teamwork, and growth beyond kindness. I'm not sure that it exists. At least I couldn't find it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my thought ultimately, imagine that we're running a meeting. You and I are co-running a meeting for our team right now. We walk in, I say, welcome everybody. My name, as you know, is Greg Bennick. I understand that all of you are quiet quitting. And I'm going to turn it over to Jay. And Jay, you say, you know what? Thanks, Greg, for that point about quiet quitting. We know that they're 1 foot out the door. In addition, let me start with the fact that no one respects me as a leader, and you're all really thinking secret things about me that are absolutely terrible. Okay, let's get to work. Not a chance, right? Come on, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous. But if we walk in and we say, hey, you know what? Times have been tough recently. I know people are having a hard time. Let's talk about it. Let's connect. That's believing in the possibility of kindness. People want to be there. They want their jobs. They want to contribute, and instead of thinking that everybody is 1 foot out the door, if we think 1 foot in the door or 2 feet in the door, again, create possibility. At the end of the day, you don't need to believe in the word kindness. I want you to believe in the word possibility, because humans are massive at defaulting to laziness. We're incredibly skilled at defaulting to undermining ourselves and playing too small for Jay, too small for Greg. I think we can do better than that. And if believing in the possibility of kindness leads us to create new possibilities in the way we interact, in the way we do business, and the way that we are better to ourselves, even more so than that, fantastic. I want people to live more fulfilled lives. And if that means success in business, or that means a better you, as we talked about before, and a better now, then all the better overall.
You say that kindness rests on 3 core concepts: be kind, say yes, it's up to you. Dig into those 3 things, these
Yeah.
3 core concepts.
Well, okay, so being kind is very basic, right? The idea that we're here, we have limited time in the world, literally limited time in the world. 100 years from now, Jay and Greg are not sitting here chatting. There's another podcast, happily dancing on our bones. We are gone, okay, in 100 years. So, given the limited time we have, let's do the very best we can to support one another as best we can, to support our teams, to support our colleagues, to support our coworkers, to support the people that we connect with. Being kind is a core foundation of that. Anytime I go against that, I'll just put it on myself. Anytime I go against that, I've done a disservice to myself. I regret it later if I act harshly, if I act, short-sightedly, whatever it might be. And I do. I'm human. I do that thing. We are all insecure, frightened creatures running around trying to get through this existence, and we mess up always. Okay, we mess up often and always.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, be kind. It's basic. And say yes speaks to the idea of believing in the possibility of others. Saying yes is, if I can approach each day with a say yes mindset, if I can approach each day saying yes before I say no, the possibilities are endless. And I'm going to put it into very simple terms. I'm on a mission to get in better shape. Who isn't? We all should be trying to get in better shape. The times when I say to myself, "Nah, I'm not going to go to the gym today. The paint is still drying on the shutters outside, and I can't get to the gym when the paint's drying outside." Or the price of pasta this week I think was a half a cent higher than I can't go to the gym. I do these mental gymnastics, right, with the most ludicrous excuses, saying no to possibility before saying yes. So when we say yes and have that as a mindset, we create, again, possibilities, and that's what we're talking about here. And then, of course, it's up to you at the end of the day. No one is going to hand feed you understanding how to interact with other people. We have to take risks. We have to take risks sometimes and dive in and say, you know what? I don't know this person, but I've got a good feeling. The ground is there to create possibility. Let's jump in, be kind, say yes to this, and see where it goes. I love thinking that way, because the alternative doesn't make me happy. At the end of the day, we are trying to get through life in a way which makes us as happy as possible. Some people pursue profit, some people pursue happiness, whatever it might be. That's the way I want to get through the world, not with a mindset of negativity and pessimism. And these be kind, say yes, it's up to you sort of ways of thinking lead me there.
Yeah, I think what we don't realize is that when you say it's up to you, that we have choices. Regardless of our circumstances, we have choices. And even if things are miserable, I can still look for possibilities. I can still be kind, right? It's still up to me at the end of the day.
Yep.
And I have to take ownership of whatever feelings I have. I have to take ownership of how I respond. I tell people the 100% rule in my marriage. My wife and I live by the 100% rule. I'm 100% responsible for what I say. I'm 100% responsible for what I do, but 100% responsible for how we respond to whatever you say or do to me. And that is a choice. And I think what you're saying about kindness and possibilities is there is a choice here that you have to make.
That's right.
Pessimism is easy. It's really easy. Kindness is a harder choice.
Yeah, absolutely. If I say to you, hey, here's 2 options. How about pizza and a football game at my place this afternoon at 4. Or here's another idea: bench press, followed by squats and a long, fast-paced walk, each wearing weight vests at 4 o'clock. You choose. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously, you're going to ask what's on the pizza. You're not going to ask me, what brand of weightlifting manufacturer made the bar that we're going to do our squats with. Get out of here, So we need to not default to laziness. And I do it all the time. We all do. But I think that we can make better choices, which is what the book ultimately is about. I say in the book, I say, listen, I'm basically writing this as a reminder to myself. I hope you're along for the ride, and I think you are. So I think that we can do better and make better choices along the way.
His name's Greg Bennick. The book is entitled Reclaim the Moment: 7 Strategies to Build a Better Now. I like my title, Build a Better You, but it's not what's on the book. It says Build a Better Now.
It'll come with a sticker from now on that you can just
I'm gonna
stick the word you over now.
Yeah, would you send me a sticker, please? That would be great. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, listen, I got a couple sponsors I need to give a shout out to. Zoundy. If you're an author, publisher, professional, and you've got books in the audio space, listen, Zoundy's outstanding. I was speaking in Salt Lake City not too long ago, and I had a code that I could give away my Audible book for free. And you go, why would you do that? And I go, well, I'll tell you why I did it. Because through Zoundy, I get their email addresses and I get to interact with my listening readers. And so what happened is I get to interact and ask them things like, what did you like? What did you not like? What would you like to see me improve? What would you like to see me write next? And I found it to be just an outstanding experience. So whether you're launching your first audiobook or you've got a catalog of them, check out Zoundy.com, Zoundy.com. Listen, special offer though. If you go to Zoundy.com/J, that's Jay, that's me, and then use my code JAY25, you'll unlock special savings. Check them out, Zoundy.com/J. And Linda Craft Team Realtors, 40 years, been at the top of the game in real estate. And they're in the transition business. And you say, whoa, I thought they were a real estate company. Well, think about it. Every place you've ever lived has been a life transition. They know how to take the stress out of that. And they've been doing that successfully for 40 years for thousands of people. They'd love to help you too as well. Check them out. The Transition Specialists, Linda Craft Team Realtors, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Greg Bennick and his book, Reclaim the Moment. He doesn't know we're friends. I just made that up, but that's okay. We are. At the end of it. Okay. 7 strategies to build a better now. I have to look at the book because I want to say you, and I want to make sure it's still not there. It's not. It's 7 strategies to build a better now. So it's outstanding. Check it out. Available Amazon bookstores and his website, gregbennick.com. That's GREGBENNICK.com. Check it out. Let's go to number 2. Which is chapter 5. Keep your eyes focused on the knife. Oh, Greg, I read that story about you excited. You're doing your juggling act. You're speaking, and we don't start with knives. By the way, Greg will teach you how to juggle in this book.
That's right. In the book,
he will teach you how to juggle. And so do not start with knives. It's first of all, I think it's Greg's advice, although he doesn't explicitly say that. I don't think in the book. I don't remember it.
It's implied.
It's implied. Just don't start with a knife. Okay. Beanbags, balls, good. Knives, not so good to start.
Not so good.
So the idea here is this is about keeping our eyes focused on the energy that really matters most and cutting through the distraction. Let's dig into that.
Totally. So the juggling story that we're alluding to, without going into the full details of the story, during one of my first ever professional appearances, I was trying to prove that a knife that I was juggling was indeed sharp. And I was cutting through a carrot. And ultimately, it's theatrical. I mean, I could take a playing card and probably cut through a carrot, but I decided to take this knife, which was a kitchen knife from my mother's kitchen. I was in my early teens at the time, and show this live audience that it was sharp by cutting through the carrot. Well, rather than just cut it through once and say, these knives are sharp, and have everyone believe me, because it was true. It was a kitchen knife after all. I kept cutting these knives. Each word had a blow of that knife, with it. These knives are sharp. And of course, the carrot's getting shorter and shorter. I eventually cut through my own finger live in front of an audience. Good times. So So for all the doctors who are listening, where were you then? I cut through
And by
my.
the way, a doctor is listening right now. By the way, my yes, ER doctor listening to me right now. On this. Hey, John.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, you caught him at the right time. So don't worry. His finger's just fine now.
Totally fine, totally fine. But
Yeah.
the point is that what I realized much later that I had done, rather than just engage in youthful exuberance in front of one of my first live audiences, was I didn't keep my eyes on the knife. And that sounds pretty obvious, but it's a juggling metaphor. When we keep our eyes on the thing that's most important in front of us, that's going to get the lion's share of our attention, and therefore the care that is needed to uphold or maintain that thing is going to be there when we need it. And what I did was focus on the bean bags that I had, or whatever was with me in my hands, not the knife. And it was essential to keep my eyes on the knife. So transposing that to the business world, or transposing that to the human connection world, what matters most in your reality, in your business? What matters most for you in the interactions that you have with other people? I'm going to suggest that when we filter through the distractions of the world, and we'll get into this in a moment, of which there are many, and we keep our eyes on that knife, we do better for the people we work with. We build a stronger team. My keynotes are all about team building, reminding people that they matter and that the work that they do is meaningful. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the knife oftentimes is your people. Keep your eyes on the knife, the people who are around you, who, if they fall or fail, they're really going to disrupt the way that you want your day and your business and your year to go. They're going to get disrupted themselves. So if you focus on your people, you remind them that they matter, you remind them that their contributions are meaningful, because they are, hopefully, then you're going to build a stronger team. And it's easy to get pulled apart by the distractions of the world and let us forget what's most important. And just so you know, the knife, whatever it might be, changes from moment to moment. My knife in this moment is my conversation with you, Jay, and your listeners. Like, this is mattering most to me. It's not what I'm doing in an hour. It's not what I'm doing in 5 minutes. It's this. I talk in the book about a French writer named Guy Debord, who wrote a book called The Society of the Spectacle in the 1960s. And he was talking about the spectacle we create of the images in the world around us, that we don't need to engage directly with the world, because the world will present itself as a spectacle of people having adventures. We see that in magazines, and people falling in love. We see that in the movies. And as a result, we stay one arm's length away from actual engagement in life, because the spectacle around us, the distractions around us, keep us feeling engaged, as if we are engaged, when in fact, we're a degree of separation away, because we're living vicariously through them. So the idea is there's always going to be distractions. Debord was writing in the 1960s. He was talking about magazines and billboards. What would that guy think of TikTok? He'd lose his mind, right? So TikTok and all the distractions around us all the time aren't inherently negative, but they do pull us away from where our focus needs to be, potentially from that knife spinning in front of our face. So as long as we keep our mind and our eyes and our focus on the thing that's most important in front of us, we're going to cut through the distractions. And I'm going to suggest focus on your team, the people you work with, strengthen that team, and make sure that people realize that they matter and that the work they do is meaningful. You're going to be in a great place.
You say distractions are alluring, and then you point us a little piece of research from review.org. The average person checks their phone 144 times a day. I would say that's distraction.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say that you're right. Distraction is alluring. We would rather do anything sometimes than what we should be doing and what we should be focused on. It's very, very tempting. Don't raise your hands out there because I can't see them, but you can silently admit to yourself, listeners, how many of you got sucked up into the black hole of YouTube or TikTok or Instagram for maybe 2 hours and it was just gone and you don't even realize it happened? Right? So what do we do? How do we get out of this? How do you help us get out of this world of distraction to get us refocused?
You have to make an impossible choice sometimes. And in fact, this should be the name of my next book, The Impossible Choice, right? It's the choice that seems impossible in the moment, but actually isn't. At SeaTac Airport near Seattle, where I live, when you get off the train that leads you to baggage claim, or the train that leads you to your gates, you have a choice to make. You either go up the escalator or you go up the stairs.
Hmm.
When I get off planes, the last thing I want to do is take the stairs. The last thing in the world. Like, I'd literally rather anything happen to me than take those stairs. What I find is when I make the impossible choice, there's no way I'm walking up those stairs today. And I walk up the stairs, I get to the top of the stairs and I was like, oh, cool. I'm slightly out of breath, but I walked the stairs. Good for me. That's awesome. It seemed like an impossible choice in the moment. Kind of like my suggestion before that when we're never going to make it to the gym because the paint on the shutters is drying, that sort of thing. Make an impossible choice, get up, go to the gym. Make an impossible choice from time to time and shut off your cell phone. Now, I'm not anti-cell phone. I'm not anti-social media. I'm not anti-TikTok for that matter. But I am anti the hours, minutes, and seconds of our one and only precious life slipping away. I'm anti that. I don't want the hours, minutes, and seconds of our one and only precious life to be slipping away. So we have to make an impossible choice sometime. And that impossible choice is the thing that we can't imagine doing. Yet when we do it, we go, oh, okay. I shut off my cell phone. Wow, maybe I'll see what my girlfriend's up to today. Huh, wow, there's a tree over there. Maybe I'll climb it. Whatever it might be. It might be the book you've been meaning to read. It might be the conversation you've been meaning to have in the hallway. It might be the report you've been meaning to file. It might be protocols that you want to be updated on that you haven't found the time to be updated on. Why? Because you're watching cat videos on YouTube. Shut your phone off from time to time and shut your laptop and consider making an impossible choice that leads you to progression that you didn't even realize was there. I know that this is true for me. And again, I'm not just championing ideas which I don't myself either struggle with, or work through. I find that when I make an impossible choice, I always get somewhere that I never dreamed I'd be, even if it's just slightly healthier, slightly smarter, slightly more astute, slightly more focused. Making the impossible choice gets us there. So that's my suggestion, is every once in a while, shut your phone off or put a limiter on your phone for social media. If you find out that 2 hours is slipping away, 2 hours is a lot of time. You can do a lot of reading in 2 hours. You can do a lot of catching up with human beings in 2 hours. You can also do a lot of squats and push-ups in 2 hours. I know that that's a challenging thing to think about, but you could also, just get out in the world, get a walk in, get some exercise in. Let's be healthier in this life.
Before we leave this, there is something that you did say that I think is really helpful. That you said is imagining outcomes is an incredibly valuable tool. Talk about how that can help us get there by just imagining outcomes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we as creatures, as human creatures, have a very unique ability. We can imagine something that doesn't yet exist in space and time. And then through our own volition, through our own creativity, we can manifest and have that thing come into being. Now, this is very different than other creatures in the world. The beaver builds a dam, and then the dam exists. Go beaver, okay? The bird imagines a nest, and then the nest exists. Hooray, bird. Here's the thing. The bird doesn't say, you know what? This neighborhood isn't working for me. I'm going to move to the next neighborhood over. I'm going to build a 2-level nest, and I'm going to rent out the bottom as an air bird and bee. I just made that up. And then the bird doesn't think this way. The bird just builds the nest. Okay. Humans can imagine something which doesn't yet exist in space and time and manifest it and create it. They can imagine that eventuality and bring it into being. This is a unique experience for the human animal. We can imagine something that doesn't exist and then make it happen. Otto Rank, an Austrian psychoanalyst, said, humans make the unreal real. He said, we have the potential to make the unreal real. We can take the thing which doesn't yet exist and then make it exist. That's pretty awesome. So when we think that way, all of a sudden, the things that we want to have happen, those things can become reality if we choose. We're often the limiter. Preventing the thing from coming into reality. And the thing doesn't have to be a nest. The thing could be a stronger team. The thing could be a better bottom line for our business. The thing could be stronger relationships with the people with whom we work on our core team. Whatever it might be, we can imagine it. We can make it happen. And those eventualities can become realities when we make the choice to see them through.
I love it. That's awesome. Let's move to number 3. Cultivate a revolutionary mindset to break free from the deception of defeat. Oh, the deception of defeat. Boy, can we go there, where we just go, okay, no possibilities. It's over. I'm done. But we need, how do we cultivate a revolutionary mindset? What is it and how do we cultivate it?
If I told you today, if I even, I'm just going to flippantly say this. I'm going to say, you know what? Most human endeavors end in tears. There's no point in trying to do anything. Every relationship ultimately fails. At the end of the day, we're never going to get what we want. You and I are going to, 30 years from now, be sitting here and just be miserable. Eventually, we're going to start to believe this ridiculous rhetoric, right? And we shouldn't, because we don't have to. Let's cultivate a revolutionary mindset between that, amidst that. And by revolutionary mindset, I don't necessarily mean that you're overthrowing yourself. I don't necessarily need us to think in those terms. It can be even more subtle than that. The revolutionary mindset happens in moments, and the deception of defeat is very real. We often convince ourselves that something isn't possible before we make the impossible choice and see it through. Same is true all the time. And it happens in micro moments throughout the day. But when we cultivate a revolutionary mindset, a mindset of going against the grain, then all of a sudden we might make our way through that moment that we're thinking pessimistically, let's say, or we're thinking that there is only defeat. We might actually envision a different reality, which brings us back to the point we made a few seconds ago, that when we imagine a reality, we can see that reality through. So let's think in a revolutionary way that if defeat is all consuming and there's no possible way through, I promise you there are people who have been through something more intense and something worse. I promise you that there are people who have made a different choice. We can do the same thing. We just have to take the way that we think, which is often structured and often limiting, and turn it on its ear, turn it on its head, turn it sideways, and approach the day and approach the moment with a different perspective. And in the book, I offer suggestions of ways to do that. And I think that it's important to keep that mindset, because defeat is deceptive. We're often not as defeated as we think we are. We might think, oh, it's over, I can't do anything. That's not necessarily true. We convince ourselves of that and make it real. Because what Otto Rank suggested about humans making the unreal real goes both ways. I can imagine success for Jay and Greg. I can also imagine despair and defeat for Jay and Greg. And I can make that my reality too if I choose. I'm going to choose to make a different choice. And I hope that your listeners are along with you and along with me in making that different choice as well.
How is believing in yourself a revolutionary act?
Yeah, well, I would suggest that the world would oftentimes, the world oftentimes does suggest that you fall in line, that you do not believe in yourself, that other people are there to take your money in exchange for what they have to offer. And that's another reason why I say in the book, I'm not a guru. Sure, I do coaching, but don't think of me as a guru in the book, because that's not what this is. This is me reminding me, just as I'm reminding you of some ideas that I think are important. But the world often convinces us. And I have to say, there are people far more clever than Jay and Greg who have figured out ways to take our money and convince people to part with their money in exchange for salvation. And by salvation, I mean the promise of making you a better self if you only believe what they believe and only do what they do and only do exactly what they tell you in a systematic way. That's not the salvation that I want in the world. It's not. I don't want to feel as though I'm not good enough. I'd rather feel as though I've got a lot of potential that I have yet to realize. That's always going to be true. I want to maximize it. And my personal salvation is going to come from walking up those stairs. It's going to come from connecting with other people. It's going to come from believing in myself. It's going to come from turning off that influence from the outside world, which would have us just go along with the pack and kind of just disappear. I think that each person's unique abilities need to be at least maximized and really followed through with in order to live the most fulfilling life possible. So I want to see that reality happen.
I'm going to throw this at you. It's a quote you have from the book. I'm going to change the word I to we, because I don't want to just leave you there on an island by yourself, because I don't think it's correct. We often default to feeling defeated during times when we need an excuse to justify not wanting to try again. Let us please leave lazy for another day than this one. Talk about that for
I
just
love it. Okay, so let's go back just for fun, just because it's a fun metaphor. We talked about me juggling, right? So I've been juggling since I was a kid, and I use juggling oftentimes both in keynotes as a metaphor and in life as exercise. I love it. So let's say I'm trying a new juggling trick. I'm trying to keep 5 juggling balls aloft, and I want to throw one under the leg. Okay, not easy. If I gave a packet of juggling balls to you, to my mom, to the guy down the street, and said, "Do this now," probably wouldn't be able to do it on the first try. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some work for me too. Along the way, there are moments where I say, this is never gonna happen. This is never gonna happen. And I don't want to try anymore. Let's leave that mindset, that lazy mindset, for another day, because in the process of creation, there are peaks and valleys along the way. And if we quit the process, the peaks where we feel as though we're on the top of our game, the valleys where we feel as though we're struggling, the next peak where we feel, oh, wow, that's even better than it was yesterday. The valley, oh, wow, it feels way worse than it did yesterday or last week for that matter. If we quit that process, we're done. If we decide that we're too lazy, or if we succumb to laziness, we are done. There is no advancement. Process, intellectual, creative, academic, literal, is all about maintaining and navigating those peaks and valleys. I talk about it in the book, a sine wave of creativity, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we're going to get to the place we want to get to only if we stay in the process. And staying in any process, where learning a new technical skill, bringing a team together, making sure that we are compliant with whatever regulation has come down the pathway toward us, is all about navigating those peaks and valleys and not succumbing to laziness along the way. Because it's easy to go, I don't know, I can't do it. I can't throw the juggling ball under the leg with 5 in the air at once. Can't do it. It's impossible. Okay, you win. You're right. It's impossible. But I don't want that prize that you just won. I want the prize that comes from staying in the process through the peaks and valleys and seeing where that ends up. That sounds way more interesting to me.
Totally agree. And I agree with this book. It's called Reclaim the Moment, 7 Strategies to Build a Better Now. I said it right, now. It'll build a better you. It'll build a better business. I promise you it will. But it is 7 strategies to build a better now. His name's Greg Bennick. He's outstanding. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Folks, talk about him all the time. Zoundy, one of my sponsors, love him to death. Listen, they empower you to leverage your audiobook to build and capture contact lists, target non-traditional sales channels, generate reviews, network with influencers, engage audiences like never before. Check him out. Author, publisher, you're going to really love them. I love them. Check out, I got a code here that you can use to get off free savings. It's zoundy.com/J, ZOUNDY.com/JAY. Use my code JAY25. And when you do, you're going to get savings and you're going to love the interaction, because who doesn't want to interact with their readers or listeners of their books? I think we all do. And I know I've enjoyed the process, and it's really helped me grow as an author and publisher of my books. And I love being able to chat with them. Check them out, zoundy.com/J. Linda Craft Team Realtors. Yeah, they've got everything on their website that other realtors have. But here's what I love about what they do. They don't just have a normal website, real estate website. They interviewed a child psychologist to talk about how to move with children, a veterinarian, how to move with pets. Just one resource after another that can help you grow. They got a great, outstanding show that they do called Real Estate Right Now podcast, and just tremendous information of real estate matters that matter to other people, including you. Check them out, lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Greg Bennick. His book, Reclaim the Moment, 7 Strategies to Build a Better Now. There it is. I did it. And we're moving along these 7 strategies. We're not going to get through all of them, but that's why you got to read the book. You have to do that. Available everywhere. So check it out. Greg, this has been so far just a delight to have you with us. So thank you.
I've loved it. Thank you.
This has been fun. So as we move into this last segment, so let's leap into the darkness to embrace the possibility of success.
I love it. This is a creative metaphor. It came from a conversation I had years ago with a dear friend of mine, and he was talking about the intensity of his creative process and what it's like. And he described it, and we had this long conversation about the idea that it wasn't just you put one foot in front of another when you're walking into, say, a tunnel, and you see light at the end of the tunnel and you aim for it. We talked about the idea that sometimes in creative process, and this is true in business or technical or other process too. I speak creatively because of my experience as a speaking and a spoken performer and keynote speaker and whatnot. But it could be any process. that sometimes you don't even see light at the end of the tunnel and you walk in regardless. You have to take a leap into the dark, a leap into the unknown, and see where you end up. And sometimes that leap in terms of your process is going to put you in, you know, a place where you don't know where you are momentarily, but you're going to find your way. I mean, the chance of you engaging in creative, or for that matter, technical, whatever it might be, business process, and having everything collapse instantaneously, probably pretty slim, especially if the questions that we're trying to answer aren't major ones. Now, close your business, keep your business open, big question. Let's approach that with, you know, a degree of care, certainly. But sometimes immobility prevents forward motion, and we have to take that leap into the dark. And when we do, we embrace the possibility of success. And this is the key and important part in the chapter, is that oftentimes we can't imagine being successful. We can't imagine that even as a possibility. It's intimidating to think, wait a minute, what if I succeed? Not what if I fail, but what if I succeed? What happens, listener, if you succeed? Where do you end up? Well, you're going to be certainly in uncharted territory then. You're going to be advanced from where you are now. So when we leap into the dark, we're doing two things. We're keeping process going, but we're also embracing the possibility of success, that we might just be successful with what we're trying to do. That's intimidating. Who knows where that's going to place us? Well, it's going to place us in a place where we have to leap into the dark yet again. I love the idea of people embracing possibility. And once you succeed at something brand new, you're in a new place. You've got to move forward from there and see what happens next. And I say in the book, towards the end, I'm like, write me, tell me where all these ideas end for you. Where do you end up as a result of these ideas? What possibilities do you create and manifest? Because I want to know. And I've heard some amazing things from people so far. It's been pretty great.
Stepping into the darkness is uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
For all of us. And because it requires risk, and as we're pretty risk adverse, we often go from a prevention mindset. I just don't want to lose what I got. Right. And I don't want to, I just don't want to lose what I got. Don't make me go out there, because I don't know what's going to happen out there. I know what I got here, but I don't know what I'm out there. And then, coupled with that is the fact is that we don't like change. We don't like change. And you make me step out into the dark, dear Greg, my friend, and you make me step out into the dark, you're going to make me change. I don't know that I like that, Greg. I'm not sure I'm in there with you on this.
I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that. And again, I'm human too, right? I'm not a superhuman creature who is totally loves change all the time. No, I mean, we like the things we like. We like things going as they have been. It's comfortable. It feels safe. Human existence, if we're going to go deep on psychology, and I'll do this in 10 seconds rather than the 10 minutes I wish we had, but in 10 seconds, again, we're insecure, frightened creatures. We don't know what's going to happen next. And anything that gives us a sense of calm, of centeredness, that's psychologically reassuring for us as a human animal. So when we step into the unknown, this is psychologically unsure territory. I get that it's potentially intimidating. But at the same time, how often do we limit possibility or thwart possibility by making choices just so that we feel safe and just so that we feel entirely secure? I think it's okay sometimes to take a little bit of a risk and see what happens. Again, if you're making a major choice, that's do you keep your business open? Do you close your business? If you're making major life decisions, contemplate them. Don't just leap into the dark because I say so. But that mindset, the idea that we can step forward into the unknown and see what happens and work from there based on our ability, based on our experience, based on our expertise. I think more often than not, we're going to find possibility on the other side of that choice than we are anything negative.
Sometimes we have to leap before we look.
Yeah, I think it's true. It's absolutely true. 100%.
Right. I mean,
absolutely
we just have to do it. I'm thinking about, as you were talking, I was thinking about times in my life where I had to leap before I looked. I just didn't know how it was going to work out.
Yep.
And by the way, I rarely do in anything. Do I know how it's going to work out?
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the things that you talk about, if you're going to do this, you can't talk about it. You got to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm curious to see where we end up when we transform things, when we transform things for ourselves in ways that are unexpected. And that doesn't mean undermine your entire life. It doesn't mean that you create a situation where what you do is you undermine everything in your life just to see what happens. No, not that at all. But consider that mindset. Consider that mindset of leaping into the dark and seeing where that ends up. Try it. Just try it and see if that having that mindset might apply itself to decisions that you make on a more regular basis. I'd be really curious to see what happens with that.
How do you help people get courage to step into the unknown?
Well, I let them know that I'm there too. And I oftentimes create the situation and in my keynotes where I let people know this is exactly what I'm doing right now. We're starting this keynote. There's 2,000 of you in the audience. We have no idea where this is going to go. I've got some ideas because this is not my first proverbial rodeo on stage, but we don't know where this is going to go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens together. I think that the together point is really essential. And I think that throughout the book, I'm talking about connecting with other people and doing this kind of work together, whether thinking in terms of possibility or keeping your eyes on the knife, whatever it might be. I think that relying on connecting with and supporting other people and being supported by other people is a way that we can get through because we are not solitary creatures. Humans feel like that sometimes, like it's just me against the world. But it's really not. We're social creatures. We are interactive creatures inherently. And when we rely on and with and for one another, when we work together and remind ourselves that we together matter and that we can do and make hard choices in conjunction with one another, then we don't feel alone. Then we don't feel completely overwhelmed and intimidated. I know that if I give something new a try, that you're going to have my back. If I write to you next week and I say, Jay, I tried this thing in my business. I'm not sure it worked out yet. I would hope that you would write me back and say, write me in another week and let me know again. Keep at it. Keep at it and give me that kind of encouraging support that I'd want so much. I think that when we support one another and we work together, that's a way that we can overcome that fear of the unknown and step into or leap into the dark.
Greg, I'd be writing you back going, Greg, it's only 1 week.
That's right. It's only 1 week.
It's only 1 week, Greg.
Yep. And that'd be classic Greg mode to say, wait a minute, I made this choice 4 seconds ago.
Okay,
No
Greg,
changes made.
it's only 1 week. Okay. Let's just get through week 2. And by the way, Greg, let's think about a marketing platform. Like whenever I do new marketing, I test it for 90 days. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not after 90 days, I'm not seeing something that I like. Okay. Maybe I'm now going to rethink it. But Greg, it's only 1 week. Okay?
Wait, you mean I did 3 push-ups and I'm not perfectly in shape?
Greg,
Wait, what are you talking about?
It's only 1 week. Okay, we're just gonna have to stay with it. This has been a lot of fun, brother. I've enjoyed it.
I agree.
I have some people who've said a lot of fun things out there. Dave Jones said, "Love the message." The bird Airbnb thing came up. He said, "You ever think about VR Birdo? That might be." Might be what he's thrown out there at you. So it's been a lot of fun. We haven't got to the other ones, but you're gonna have to read the book, Reclaim the Moment, 7 Strategies to Build a Better Now. It will build a better you and a better business too. I promise you. You got to read for the rest of the strategies. Tell folks how they get a hold of you, Greg.
I'd love to hear from people through my website, gregbennick.com, GregBennick.com. You can watch my promo video there for my keynotes, but also you can get in touch with me there, read my blog. I'll be putting up a new blog post later today as well. But I really appreciate anybody who gets in touch anytime with questions, comments, inquiries. If you have an event that needs a keynote speaker, or if you have ideas that came up for you as you were reading the book, I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Stay with me, Greg. Folks, this is a show. You know what I say to you every week? You have 3 things you're absolutely in control of: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. The fact of the matter is life does not give us everything that we want. In fact, you may be in circumstances you did not choose. But you know what you are in control of? Your attitude first. You know what? It's hard. It's not easy, but you can choose the attitude you want today. Take control of it. Choose it. Your effort is tied to your excellence. You may not have the same amount of energy in your tank today, but whatever energy you have, you can be excellent with that energy. Be excellent today. Don't worry about perfection, because perfection is the enemy of excellence. Just do your best. And then, you know what? You're in control of your resiliency. We all get punched in the gut, punched in the mouth, and get knocked down. But it's up to you to get back up. And we need you to get back up. Why? Because you're worth it, and we want you on the team. I'm going to be back next week with another great guest, another great book. It means that I automatically get to have another great show. It's pretty darn awesome. It's pretty easy. You had a lot of choices. You chose us. I thank you for doing that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Wherever you're listening on podcasts, give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Tell your friends and your enemies about the show. We'd love to have them on as well. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.